This hearing is called to order. This is the public hearing of the City Council Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony on bills number 140853, 140854, and 140948. And I want to recognize the presence of a quorum of committee members. Members of the committee in attendance are Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez, Councilman Majority Leader Curtis Jones Jr., and Councilman David O. Also joining us is Councilwoman Janie Blackwell. And are there any opening remarks? Okay. And then we will now have the clerk read the title of bill number 140853.
Bill number 140853, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to lease from the Philadelphia Housing Authority a parcel of land bounded by a portion of Brown Street, a portion of 47th Street, Aspen Street, and Markoe Street, along with the improvements thereon, to be known upon the completion of its construction as the Lucien E. Blackwell Community Center, all under certain terms and conditions.
Okay, and we're going to have our first panel come forward. That will be Rebecca Reinhardt, Budget Director, Michael DeBerardinis, Deputy Mayor, and Michael Johns, Philadelphia Housing Authority. And also joining us for the record is Councilman Bobby Heenan. And if you would state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Sure. Good afternoon, Councilwoman Bass and members of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Committee. My name is Rebecca Reinhardt, and I'm the Budget Director for the city. I'm here to testify on behalf of Bill number 140853. With me is Michael DeBerardinis, Deputy Mayor for Environmental and Community Resources, as well as Michael Johns, representing the Philadelphia Housing Authority. Bill number 140853 will authorize the city to enter into a 99-year term lease agreement to lease from the PHA a parcel of land along with improvements made on this land to create the Lucien Blackwell Community Center. The parcel of land is bounded by a portion of Brown Street, a portion of 47th Street, Aspen Street, and Markoe Street. The new Lucien Blackwell Community Center will have a gymnasium with courts, bleachers, a commercial kitchen, and a community room for activities and programming. The cost of this project is estimated at $5 million, of which the city's contribution is $2,050,000, and the PHA is responsible for the remaining costs of the project. Certain documents will be executed as part of the lease agreement structure, including a ground lease between the city and PHA, a grant agreement between PAID and the city, and a subgrant agreement between PAID and the PHA. The grant and subgrant structure is necessary with PAID in order to transfer the city funding. I respectfully request that you report Bill number 140853 out of committee with a favorable recommendation, and I further request that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading at the next session of council. This concludes my testimony, and we are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony.
Sure.
And we'll save the questions for the last. Councilwoman, you want to wait, or you want to make
I
comments?
just want to say thank you to them. Without the input from those three important and vital participants, man, we've been at this since around '01. That's right, Councilman Jones. Were it not for them, we would not be here. I'm so grateful. It's my early Christmas present. It means everything, and thank you to each of you for bringing us this far. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I hope that the chair and the committee will report this out with a suspension of the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Okay. Mr. Deputy Mayor, do you want to proceed?
Beyond Rebecca's testimony, I would like to add that we're very excited about this process and the idea of having in a few short years having a wonderful gymnasium, a multi-purpose facility in the area. And we also, if you look at the 3 or 4 blocks there, we're developing a park there, working with the water department. So we have a sort of an outdoor green space, and with the help of the councilwoman, we just completed significant improvements to the playground that is adjacent to the future Lucien Blackwell Community Center. So we will have quite a complex out there, and one that can serve broad sectors of the community with multiple activities and programs. So to us, it's putting another asset and resource into the department, adding on to the park and to the playground and helping us meet our mission.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you for your comments, your testimony. And Mr. Johns?
Yes, I just want to add that this particular project is a long time coming. I happen to have worked on the Lucien E. Blackwell Mill Creek Hope 6 project back in 1999. This was a commitment that the councilwoman made and the Housing Authority made to that community to build a community center, to work with the city to build a park. And although it's taken a decade or so to get to this point,
Give or take.
we never stopped.
We'll take it.
We never stopped our commitment to the councilwoman's district, and we never had the unwavering support of the city throughout the process. It's taken us a long time, but I'm so proud, and the Housing Authority is proud to be a part of this process and to see finally this community center get built. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to
Councilman.
say that one thing you got to know is that when you promise Councilwoman Janie Blackwell something, she's not going to forget. So you could drag your feet all you want. She will remember. And God bless.
Thank you.
I think the commissioner may have left and come back during the time. He was here, the original agreement. He left, he came back, and it's still on the table, but we're getting it done. So thank you so much. Are there any questions
Thank you.
from the panel? Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you. Is there anyone else here to testify on this bill?
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon. Please state your name
Chairwoman.
just for the record.
and members of the committee. My name is Jihad Ali. I'm here to testify on behalf of the Lucien E. Blackwell Community Center. You know, it's an honor to be here just to say what I'm about to say, because Lucien E. Blackwell, he's a great man. And he's a great man, regardless of what his race was. But the fact that he was an African American, he was an inspiration to me, because he came through a period of time when we had the hot 60s. And he rumbled right here on this floor to get the rights of the people in our communities respected. So it's an honor to see that we're going to have a facility that we can put up in his name. One thing I would like to ask the councilwoman to consider is that if there's some money that you can extract from Parks and Recreation, that we produce a video and show it so the young people can know what kind of man he was and how he came through all this stuff. So just something, if there's some money left over from the budget, that you can do that with. But I think he was a great man. It's a great honor to be here to speak to the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to testify on this bill? No? Okay. Can we have the clerk now read the title of Bill number 140854?
Bill number 140854, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Public Property Commissioner on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept from the School District of Philadelphia title to certain parcels of land located within a bounded area, within an area bounded by Media Street to the north, North 52nd Street to the east, Master Street to the south, and North Peach Street to the west, all under certain terms and conditions.
Okay, and testifying on Bill number 140854 is Michael DeBerardinis, Deputy Mayor.
Good afternoon again,
Good afternoon.
Chairwoman Bass and committee members. My name is Michael DeBerardinis, Deputy Mayor and Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. I am pleased to appear before you today on behalf of the department to testify in support of Bill 140854, which authorizes the Public Property Commissioner on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept from the School District of Philadelphia title to certain parcels of land known as Conestoga Recreation Center / Playground, located at Media Street to the north, North 52nd Street to the east, Master Street to the south, and North Peach Street to the west. Philadelphia Parks and Recreation has been maintaining and programming at this site, and we would appreciate the opportunity to have this site transferred to us. Just a quick, we're doing a special project here, part of Green 2015. We discovered during the process that the land we'd been caring for playground built on it was school district property. So in order to complete the renovations, we already raised the money, so the money's in the till. We need to transfer the land to the city, and then we'll be able to complete the project. Essentially, that's the deal. So therefore, I appear before you to pledge support of the department for this legislation and respectfully ask that City Council approve the bill 140854. In addition, I respectfully request the committee vote the bill out of committee with a favorable recommendation, and that the rules be suspended to permit first reading at the next council session. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from the panel? Councilwoman Blackwell?
Thank you,
Yes.
Madam Chair and committee. This is a long time coming. This is in my district as well, and anybody who's around it knows about the school and the activities therein right across the street, and it would just be a perfect conclusion to these actions, and we thank the Recreation Department. It certainly is your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to testify on this bill? Okay. And if not, then can we have, please have the clerk read the title of Bill number 140948.
Bill number 140948, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept one or more deeds to parcels of land located at 1114-1 Locust Street, 1127-31 Waverly Street, 831-839 South Street, amending chapters 15-200 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Fairmount Park to include the gardens under the jurisdiction of the Department of Parks and Recreations, and authorizing the Commissioner of the Department of Parks and Recreation to enter into an agreement to lease out such property.
Okay, all right. And we're going to have come forward our Commissioner DeBerardinis and also Rick Spitzborg of the Washington Square West Civic Association. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again to everyone. Chairwoman Bass, committee members, my name is Michael DeBerardinis, Deputy Mayor, Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. I am pleased to appear before you today on behalf of the department to testify in support of Bill 140948, which authorizes the Public Property Commissioner on behalf of this City of Philadelphia to accept one or more deeds to parcels on land located at 1114-18 Locust Street, 1127-31 Waverly, and 831-839 South Street, to include the gardens under the jurisdiction of the Department of Parks and Recreation. Just to, again, do a quick summary here. These gardens have been in place, two for 19 years and another for 39 years. This would give them protection and the kind of business certainty one needs to continue to put all the volunteer time into build the values that these gardens provide to the neighbors, not only of the neighborhood, but residents around the city. We are happy to accept these properties into our inventory and to begin to build a system of supports for gardens all over the city, and to work with council in some of these transfers, which with RDA are necessary. With that in mind, I therefore appear before you to pledge support of the Department of Parks and Recreation for this legislation, and respectfully ask City Council to approve Bill 140948. In addition, I respectfully request that this committee vote this bill out of committee with a favorable recommendation, and that the rules be suspended to permit first reading at the next council session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony. And sir, can you please state your name for the record and begin your testimony?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before you in support of Bill 140948. My name is Rick Spitzborg, and I am here representing the Washington Square West Civic Association. The three properties identified in the bill and proposed for transfer to the Department of Parks and Recreation are all located in Washington Square West. All of these properties are community gardens that have been part of the neighborhood fabric for decades and have been administered by the Civic Association as lessee since the late 1990s. Wash West has had a long and very positive relationship with council as it pertains to the gardens. Going way back to 1976, then Councilman Jimmy Tyoon put his foot to a shovel in a derelict lot on Locust Street and put his hand to pen and paper in this building to establish our first community garden. In the early 1990s, then Councilman Frank DeCicco helped to have years of debris and rubble removed from a vacant lot on South Street to establish another community garden. And fast forward to the year 2014, we so very much appreciate Councilman Mark Squilla's support and advocacy on behalf of all of the community gardens in Wash West. The passage of this ordinance will culminate a 40-year partnership between City Council and Washington Square West, and we thank you for your continuing commitment to our gardens. The Civic Association runs a lot of programs, but none is more popular than our community gardening program. Together, the three gardens provide 82 lots in which more than 120 neighbors enjoy gardening. Families garden together, friends and housemates garden together, and yet equally important, the close to 15,000 residents who live in Washington Square West enjoy three beautiful green open spaces in an otherwise densely developed urban neighborhood. I certainly want to acknowledge the Redevelopment Authority for the many years they have generously leased the properties to us, and a particular thank you to Christy Williams Jackson for her direction and support. But I think we're all aware of the challenges when the forces of preservation and development come face to face. And so we welcome the opportunity to expand our collaboration with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. We're already working together in Conn Park, in Seeger Playground, and as partners in planting street trees. Moving these parcels into the property inventory of the Department of Parks and Recreation will ensure that the quality of life is preserved in our vibrant neighborhood and protect the public access to open space. We support this bill and urge Council to enact it into law. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify before you today.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from the panel? Anyone have any questions? Okay. And is there anyone else here to testify on behalf of Bill number 140948? And if not, that concludes testimony on this bill. And we'll now go into a public hearing on bills number 140853, 140854, and 140948. Okay, I want to recognize Councilmember Jones for a motion on bill number 140853.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion on bill number 140853. I move that the rules of council be suspended and offer this bill with a favorable recommendation so that it can be read at our next session of council.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded that bill number 140853 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 140853 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. I want to recognize Councilmember Jones for a motion on bill number 140854.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 140854 be moved from this committee with a favorable recommendation and that the rules of council be suspended to allow for the first reading at our next session of council.
It has been moved and properly seconded that bill number 140854 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further moved that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 140854 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. And I also want to recognize Councilmember Jones for a motion on bill number 140948.
Again, thank you, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 140948 948 be moved from this committee with a favorable recommendation. I further move that the rules of council be suspended to allow first reading of this bill at our next scheduled session of council.
It's been moved and properly seconded that Bill number 140948 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 140948 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. And this concludes the public meeting on the bills. There will be no further business before this committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. Thank you very much.